Hello, welcome to Behind the Storyboard. Today I'm joined by StarHeavenly, a storytime animator who recounts her life with some quality artwork. It's honestly great to have you join me in this interview. For the people out there who might not have stumbled upon your channel yet, why don't you describe the kind of work you do?
I do storytime animations mostly related to either funny situations that's happened in parts of my life, mostly work stories and just personal things.
Awesome! How about we jump straight back to where it all started? How did you first start getting into art, and what made you want to turn it into a career?
I got into art at a really young age. I think around 5 or so. I actually started with like origami because my sister would show me how to do origami and then I would recreate it. And my sister was always the artsy type, and so I kind of just imitated her, but she kind of fell more into academics and later in life, but I didn't. I kind of stayed just with doing art because that was kind of the only thing that I was interested in. But I got into other subjects like science and stuff, but art kind of was the one that let me express myself the most. Somewhere in middle school, I realized that you could do art as a career, and so I kind of kept going down that path.
Gotcha.
So
There
it's my sister's fault.
Do you think there are any fellow artists or animators that give you a drive to achieve?
um Early YouTube animation definitely, and even like nowadays YouTube animators have really inspired me. 'Cause I was always mostly into illustration, but I always wanted to dabble in animation, but I never really had the drive to do it until I saw some of these, like, new animators on YouTube, like Ginger Pale's colors and his animations really inspired me. I think he was kind of the one that made me wanna start doing animations on YouTube the most.
Okay. How did the people around you feel about your YouTube career? Do they support the idea and push you to work harder, or do they discourage it and try to make you quit?
Um Honestly, most of my family and friends are really supportive. It's kind of become just something funny. Like when my best friend loves going through my YouTube comments and she encourages it. My mom is really supportive. Like my entire family is really happy with it. I think I was in a relationship with someone who was very iffy about it. He kept telling me that I needed to go back to school and I can't do art for a living. I have to go to school and YouTube's not a stable income, which is true, but also kind of just discouraged me most of the time.
Yeah, never let someone push you down.
Yeah.
So, your YouTube channel was started all the way back on March 30th in 2013, and I'm curious of the gap between the creation of your channel and your first video coming out 5 years later. What made you what made you want to start creating content?
Yeah, I made my channel when I was 13 because, just to be able to subscribe to people. I did post a bunch of speed paints earlier, like in 2014, 2015, but I deleted all of them because they were really bad. But I think my first YouTube video is private right now, but that was the one that I posted last year. It was a story time with a speed paint on it. It was just something to do when I dropped out of college, but it got 200,000 views, which was so overwhelming for your first YouTube video. I can't even describe it. You get like 10,000 subscribers in a week, which is crazy. It was mostly just, to keep myself busy and to encourage myself to make art.
Awesome, good to know. Why don't we move on to questions about the present?
Okay.
What do you recommend for people who are interested in getting into the whole storytime animation work? And is there anything you wish you were told or knew when you first started?
I think just find your own thing because I think that really stands out to people. I think just have your own style. Don't just do what everyone else is doing just because you see that it's doing well. And I think starting off with storyboarding is a really good way to practice just animation in general because I've studied a lot of storyboarding. I never really got into like full-fledged animation, but Yeah, just find what you like to do. I think that's the most important thing, because if you're not enjoying YouTube videos that you're making, then don't even bother making them, because it shows that you had fun making something.
Yeah, I would totally agree. How do you get over a case of art block?
I don't. I I I have such a bad problem. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really gotten over an art block, really. I kind of just wait for it to, get hit with inspiration. But I'd say just stick to things that you're comfortable with drawing. Like, don't go outside of your comfort zone. Or maybe do whichever like fits your preference, but I'll sometimes just do character design and like really colorful stuff, just stuff that I like to do that's really easy when I'm not really feeling it.
Awesome. What do your general day-to-day responsibilities look like?
I do have a day job, but it's mostly at night, so I basically have the entire morning and afternoon to myself, which really helps keep a decent schedule. I try to have like one day that's like my day off when I don't have work and I don't have to work on art or anything. As far as responsibilities go, I kind of try to keep at a decent schedule. I always want to go to Posta once a month. And so to keep that, I kind of try to work for at least 2 hours, if not more, obviously. Some days I'll just not feel like doing anything, and I have a really bad problem with that. And so I end up like crunching everything into the span of a week, which I really need to work on.
Okay. What do you think are the most important traits and abilities to have when going into the field of animation, specifically in the YouTube community?
I'd say flexibility and ambition. Anytime somebody asks me if they want to get into animation or anything, I always recommend the Animator Survival Kit by Richard Williams. It's one of the best reads that I've had for animation. There's a bunch of tutorials online which also help, but I feel like that's better for like learning an animation program, but I would recommend that book. But as far as traits go, I'd say yeah, just keep like know what you want to do and have fun doing it. And as far as the YouTube community goes, I'd say ignore comments. uh as far as like really nasty ones, because I've gotten some really nasty comments, and some of them were really good constructive criticism, and then others were really just personal attacks for no reason. So I think balancing constructive criticism and what isn't criticism is really good.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Where do you think new aspiring artists and animators make the most mistakes?
Um, I'd say sticking to one thing, because I've had that problem before, especially people who like making original characters. You tend to stick with just drawing characters, which is good. Character design is always a very valid profession, but you can't just do that. You want to build out your portfolio as much as possible. So recommend so I recommend doing backgrounds. Like I never practiced backgrounds when I was younger, and I'm solely regretting it now because I have little to no experience and it's a pain to learn now. Yeah. It's you want to learn as much as you possibly can despite the fact that you might not like it. Like I'm primarily a digital artist, but I also love painting and ink and a bunch of traditional mediums, and I can do realistic, but I definitely should practice more as far as that.
Mhm. What are your personal thoughts of the Storytime animator community? Is it more positive or negative, and how does it affect you personally? Do you feel it holds you back or only pushes you to work harder?
I actually haven't had much experience with the community. It's very obvious that's a very tight-knit community, which I think is really nice. I think it's really great that a bunch of artists can consecutively come together on YouTube and work together and be friends with each other. I've met some smaller YouTubers that I've definitely befriended. I haven't like befriended the bigger names in the community. But honestly, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's not a negative community as far as I can see. There hasn't been any crazy drama or anything, so I'm kind of more unopinionated on it.
Gotcha. So, you recounted stories from your college figure sketching class pretty negatively.
Yeah.
Do you think it still benefited you in any particular way? And would you recommend it to like newer artists?
That specific class?
I guess just figure sketching and stuff and like...
I enjoy figure sketching. It's... I was very negative in that video, and I feel really bad. I think I was just... I did like add a disclaimer in the description of like, I don't feel this way anymore. I was really angry. I do enjoy figure sketching. Like my high school years, I really enjoyed art class because it was such a fun community and you were able to learn at a good pace. But in the class that I was in personally for that school, it was just very stressful because anytime we were starting to get a feel for what we were doing, it would just completely stop and we would have to either do something else or just completely change what we were doing as far as the way he wanted us to do it.
That or you took too long when you had to do a 6-hour figure sketch.
Yeah, I know. Listen, some people were really upset about that. They're like, no, there was nothing wrong with the class. I'm like, okay, a 6-hour gesture drawing. You need to understand that that's not normal at all, and that's not realistic. Anybody can do a gesture drawing because it's so fast. It wasn't even the fact that we were doing multiple. It was one. It was weird. Yeah, and I even spoke to the people who were still in that class, and it was the exact same thing for the entire semester, so...
Ouch.
Yeah.
If you can name one thing you do well in animation and one thing you think needs improvement, what would they be?
I'd say my storyboards are strong. I have a friend who I share all my storyboards with, and they're easy to read most of the time. I know what I'm doing as far as, like, I can visualize something very easily when I'm storyboarding it. But as far as actual animation goes, my cleanup really needs a lot of work. My lines are often really bad. I'm still learning how to use Animate CC, which is so stressful. But yeah, I think cleanup and learning to do better backgrounds is definitely something I want to improve on, along with adding just more frames in the animation. It takes a lot longer, and you have to balance time and quality, because sure, you can spend 6 months on an animation, but by that time, nobody's going to care about it.
Gotcha. As always, I like to ask this one specific question. What do you consider success in the YouTube Storytime animation community, and how do you personally choose to measure it?
I think success is completely what you want it to be, because I feel like I'm successful even though I'm not living off of my YouTube ad revenue. I'm very small. But I think the fact that I was able to start a YouTube channel and have a community on my YouTube channel, I think that says a lot. It's amazing. Like I'm really grateful for it. But some people would measure the success as like, oh, you have to be living off of YouTube. You have to do this and that. But I think it's really just a personal thing. I feel like I've succeeded right now. But obviously, I think a big success would be able to live off of YouTube. But I don't expect that in any way.
Okay. How about we move straight on to the ending questions?
Okay.
What are your plans for the future as a YouTuber / animator, and what are you doing to achieve these goals?
I think sticking to just a regular schedule is kind of what I want to do. There's a lot of funny videos I want to make. I want to collaborate with a lot of my friends. Those are kind of the main things I want to work on right now. And just practice more storyboarding and practice animation that isn't necessarily story times. That's kind of my main goal for 2020.
Do you have any specific things that you're doing right now to like personally achieve these?
Yeah, I started doing some musical storyboards, which I think is really a good way to practice animatics and stuff. That's its own community on YouTube, actually, that I really appreciate. You know, I've already started planning some collaborations with friends, which I'm really excited for.
Nice. Awesome. Glad to hear about it. So, what are some socials people can find you on, and how can they support you in your career?
Mainly Instagram and Twitter. I'm often trying to get commission work as well on the side. Uh, but yeah, I'll post like just illustrations on Instagram and Twitter. I won't really post anything regarding my YouTube videos.
Okay. I believe you also have a crowd made.
Oh yeah, I have a crowd made. I have merch. Yeah. I have merch. I think after the holiday season, I'll probably design some more options. And I know that when I get to 100,000 subscribers, we're probably going to make some pins, which I'm really excited for.
Can't wait to see them.
Yeah.
Any last tips or pieces of advice you would like to leave off with?
Just keep making things. I think that's kind of the most important thing, you know? Just do what makes you happy. And if you want to make a career out of it, do it. Just, be smart.
Agreed. Again, a big thanks for agreeing to this interview. It was honestly a pleasure to host you. All the links to StarHeavenly's channels and socials will be in the description below. Be sure to stay tuned for next time. Bye bye!